Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatang Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitangscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Mancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagat-pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shri Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. It seems like, feels like last Saturday was just 2 days ago. Time is flying by. We now have September. We're in the 3rd month of the Chaturmasa, the 4 months of the rainy season, which may or may not be rainy wherever you are. The month of Kartik is coming up. It looks like I might be spending at least part of Kartik some distance from where I am now. Because there's going to be some, well, it's not 100% yet, but there's planned to have some construction going on here, some additional insulation to this building, and that's going to involve quite a lot of drilling of holes into stone, and that's going to be noisy. So I'm making a escape plan to a quiet place. But we'll see. Yeah. Okay. Again, welcome to those of you who have just joined. We can proceed as planned, I think, with our little music box. I think I didn't explain last time the reason I was suddenly talking about the Hammond organ in our house that I remember since ever since I was small. Reason I mentioned that was because of this little organ that I'm playing, this harmonium. And yeah, interesting how the mind makes different sorts of connections, connecting memories, and making comparisons. It has been said, and I think there's truth to it, that thinking always involves comparison. Now there's something to think about. All right, we are singing, or maybe we should read first the translation. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's song number 7 of Atma-Nivedana, of Saranagati. And the theme continues, and the flavor, I would say, also continues from what we've been hearing. So it's confessional. It's one thing we see in common with all of these songs. He's addressing Krishna directly. So these are prayers, and as such, we can take them as models. We hear that one of the 9 processes of devotional service is vandana. And so when we think of vandana prayer, we usually think of this as a direct address. And of course, the Maha Mantra is very direct. As I've often said, it's in the vocative case, so it's calling out to Krishna. O Krishna, O Rama, O Hari, or O Hara, in so much repetition and combination. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada compares, speaking of comparison, he compares this chanting of the Maha Mantra to the crying of a child for the child's mother. There's a sense of utter and complete dependence. There could even be a sense of desperation. Perhaps we all have memories of feeling that helplessness when we've been very small, feeling, calling out desperately for the shelter, the protection of our parents, our mother, our father. So that kind of prayer, that kind of mood is there. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur is, well, in one sense we could say he's giving some commentary, some elaboration, some purport to the Maha Mantra with these prayers. All right, the translation. First verse, I submit at your lotus feet, O Lord, that I am fallen and wretched, a fact known to the 3 worlds. There is no sinner more sinful than me. In the entire material creation, there's no offender whose offenses equal mine. By attempting to clear myself of all these sins and offenses, I am put to shame and beg your forgiveness. All this is understood by you. Of whom will I take shelter except for you? O son of the king of Vraja, you are the Lord of all lords. This world is yours, and you pervade all things in it. You forgive the offenses committed against you. You alone are the shelter of those who have gone astray. Apart from you, what else exists, O merciful Lord? Those like me who have offended you will know no peace until achieving your shelter. And finally, Bhaktivinoda takes shelter in you and surrenders himself at your lotus feet on this very day. Hare Krishna. All right, here we go. If you have the song, please join in on this second round. Nivedana Kori Prabhu Tomāra Carane patita adhama jāne tri-bhuvane Nivedana Kori Prabhu Tomāra Carane patita adhama jāne tri-bhuvane āmā-sama pāpī nāhi jagat-bhitore mama-sama aparādhī nāhi ko samsare āmā-sama pāpī nāhi jagat-bhitore mama-sama aparādhī nāhi ko samsare sei-rūpa aparādha parihare pailajja sabhajanota tumi sei-rūpa aparādha parihare pailajja sabhajanota tumi Tumi bina kā'ra loibosharan Tumi sarveshwar brajendra-nandan Tumi bina kā'ra loibosharan Tumi sarveshwara brajendra-nandan Jagat-Tomar nata tumi sarva-moy Tomar prati aparādhī tumi koroktoi Jagat-Tomara nata tumi sarva-moy Tomar prati aparādhī tumi koroktoi Tumi to skhalita-pada jāne asray Tumi bina āra kiva ache doyā-moy Tumi to skhalita-pada jāne asray Tumi bina āra kiva ache doyā-moy sei-rūpa Tava aparādhī janajata Tomāra Saranagata hoy beshatata sei-rūpa tava aparādhī janajata Tomāra Saranagata hoy beshatata Bhaktivinoda ebe loya sharan tuapade Kori ātma-samarpan Bhaktivinoda ebe loya sharan tuapade Kori aj ātma-samarpan Nivedana Kori Prabhu Tomara Carane patita adhama jāne tri-bhuvane Nivedana Kori Prabhu Tomara Carane patita adhama jāne tri-bhuvane Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Bo, Hare Bo, Hare Bo, Gora Hare Bo, Nitai Go, Hare Bo, Hare Bo, Hare Bo, Gora Hare Bo. So again, this song, the translation, with looking a little at the words. I submit at your lotus feet, Nivedana Kori Prabhu, O Lord, Prabhu. Yes, Bhaktivinoda Thakura often addresses the Lord as Prabhu. Of course, Prabhu means master, and it's a very, you can say, multi-purpose word. We like to address our fellow devotees as Prabhu. And incidentally, the word Prabhu is grammatically appropriate in Sanskrit for both male and female. The female address can be either Prabhu or Prabhi, Prabhvi. Either one is correct according to Panini, the great Sanskrit grammarian of ancient times. So I submit at your lotus feet that I am fallen and wretched, a fact known to the three worlds. Patita, adhama, āmī, jāne, tri-bhuvane. So that in the three worlds, tri-bhuvane is known, jāne. What is known? Patita, adhama, āmī. I am fallen, patita, and adhama. Can be translated as wretched, perhaps, lowly. Prabhupada says, or here the translation is wretched. There is no sinner more sinful than me. Āmā-sama means equal, and āmā is āmī. Pāpī is sinner. Nāhi, jagat-bhitore. Bhitore means within or in the middle. So within this jagat, this universe, literally this place of of movement. From gum, jagat is from gum. Gum means to go. It's the place where everything is in motion. Everything is in flux. That's the universe. Everything's in flux. So within this place of flux, there's no pāpī, there's no sinner more than me. The word pāpī, also, of course, we know pāpa is sin. Pāpī is one who is a sinner. And as with so much of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, this is a lot of Sanskrit here. So this would be, the stem form would be pāpin, like the word yogi, yogin, sannyasi, sannyasin, or yeah, the other way around actually. Swamin is the stem, what is called the stem, and then Swami is the nominative singular. So many words like that, identifying persons who do something or have a certain quality. āmā-sama aparādhī, same thing, aparādhī. The stem would be aparādhin, and of course coming from aparādha. Nāhi go samsare. There's no sinner more than me. In the entire material creation, there's no offender whose offenses equal mine. So one might want to say, oh, isn't he being a little bit bragging here? I'm the biggest sinner. I get a prize for being the biggest sinner. One time a brahmachari approached Srila Prabhupada, offered dandavat pranams before Prabhupada, and then got up and said, Srila Prabhupada, there is no one more sinful than I. Or there's no one more fallen than I. And Prabhupada looked at him and he said, you're not so special. Because he could see that the devotee was feeling a bit proud. I am the worst of all. I don't think that's Bhaktivinoda Thakur's mood. Third verse. By attempting to clear myself of all these sins and offenses, I'm put to shame and beg your forgiveness. All this is understood by you. So, sesha pap ara aparādh ami paridhare. So, paridhare in putting aside and rejecting. Pai, what do I get? Pai means to obtain. I only get embarrassment, lajja. Shaba jano to me. Shab jano, I don't know. Jano to me. This you all know. Of whom will I take shelter except for you? A rhetorical question. O son of the king of Braja, you are the Lord of all lords. To me bina karo ami loibo sharan. That future tense loibo, I will take shelter. And without you, of whom? Well, it's in a slightly different form, but it's without you, how can I make the taking, how will I be able to take shelter? Something like that. Tumi sarveshvareshvara brajendra-nandan. You are the Lord of everything, O brajendra-nandan. And then the fifth verse, this world is yours. Jagat-tomar nat. O Nata, O Lord, this universe is yours. To me, sarva-moy, and you pervade everything. This moya is this indicating, pervading or being filled with. So like that. Toma proti aparādhī koro kshoy. You forgive the offenses committed against you. So prati means against. Toma, I think, was short for Tomar. So against you, aparādha is against you. To me, koro, which is probably with the apostrophe koroha. Not sure about that. Koroha kshoy, you forgive, kshoy. Literally, you break. Tumito skhalita-pada. That's interesting. Okay. You alone are the shelter of those who have gone astray. So ashray, shelter, tumi. Tumito. To in Bengali is kind of an emphasizing word. It's really so. It's really the case. Tumito, it really is so. Skhalita-pada. Now, in Sanskrit, the word skhalita means to stumble, stumbled. And, well, maybe I shouldn't get into that. There's one that could lead into another discussion, but I'm going to keep it to this. Tumi bina arakiba ache doyā-moy. Apart from you, what else exists? Kiba, aro kiba ache, existing, ara, more or else. O doyā-moy, O merciful one, again moy, sarva-moy, now he's doyā-moy, who is consisting of, full of mercy. Verse 7, those like me who have offended you will know no peace until achieving your shelter. Sei-rūpa. Persons, or this form, literally this very form of aparādhī, jana, persons, Tomar Saranagata hoibe shatata. Jata shatata. They will not achieve, where is the word peace? Shatata? Shatata is constant. Not quite sure the forms there. And let's move on. Bhaktivinoda Thakura takes shelter in you. Bhaktivinoda ebe loya sharana. And then he takes shelter in you and surrenders himself at your lotus feet this very day. Tua pode, at your feet. Kori, he does. Aj, today. Ātma-samarpan, he does ātma-samarpan, the offering of oneself. So this is his declaration of surrender. Atma-Nivedana, of course, is the theme. And in the Sri Sampradaya tradition, this is very much emphasized as the way of perfection in spiritual life. And not only the Sri Sampradaya, also, of course, we understand, but they speak a lot about it they analyze the idea of Saranagati. They use different terms also. Yeah, that would be another subject. I want to share something now briefly related to this idea of aparādha and Saranagata, but from a very different tradition. I've just come across this, and as you might know, some of you, I kind of have an interest in various traditions, and sometimes some interesting comparisons come up. So here I have a short piece written from the Taoist tradition. This is written by one Deng Ming Dao, and it's a popular sort of representation of Taoism. It's not scholarly, but he shares his meditations, his Taoist meditations, which are inspired by Taoist writings, of which very few have been translated. There's a huge number. I had a teaching assistant in Hong Kong. She was a scholar of Taoism, and she said there's countless texts that have not been translated. Anyway, I really like this. Here we are. This is a meditation. The meditator said, "Let me take this as my daily meditation. I will pull all faults, all regrets, all inabilities and shame out of myself. Each one is like a black basalt rock. I will stack these rocks day by day into a wall so that they are outside of myself, mute, that is silent, unmoving, having no place, but to be dead in a wall. Then I will go to a golden temple heaped with fragrance, full of rich fragrance. I will kneel down before the altar, open and without any doubt, and I will pray to be as pure as a god. I will pull all faults, regrets, inabilities, and shame out of myself. Each one is like a brick. I will fill a box with those bricks and send it off to some unknown destination, never to return and never to be opened. Then I will go to a golden temple heaped with fragrance. I will kneel before the altar, open and without any doubt, and I will pray to be as pure as a god. I will pull all faults, regrets, inabilities, and shame out of myself. Each one is a writhing demon, a squirming like a snake, demon writhing. I will go to a place that is taboo, that is forbidden, and barren of all living beings, no living beings there. And I will slay, I will kill each one with the sword of mercy. I will go to a sacred pool and wash myself. Then I will go to a golden temple heaped with fragrance. I will kneel before the altar, open and without any doubt, and I will pray to be as pure as a god. Each day I will resolve to eliminate my shortcomings and pray to be good, pray to be flooded with the divine. I will fear nothing. I will hurt no one. I will give myself over completely to the light of the divine. I meditate on this each day. I meditate to remove all impediments to Tao. I meditate to help every sentient being. I meditate for purity. And that's the end of the meditation. Well, that's a little venture into a Taoist tradition, which I found having a very, yes, a kind of devotional element to it. Perhaps the only objection would be he's never appealing to the Lord for help to remove all of these impurities. And this is, yeah, what to say, this is Taoism. In any case, the sort of affirmation way that this is done, I think, is very nice. And it's affirmation, and it uses imagination. Some of you may have seen the interview I did with Chaitanya Charan the other day. I think we only touched really on a huge subject, and I hope to elaborate on it. Those discussions, by the way, are going to continue, and if you're interested to see those, he's also interviewing many other devotees on very interesting topics. You can go to The Monks Podcast. The Monks Podcast on YouTube. And there you'll see what's happening. He interviewed recently Radhika Raman Prabhu, who is my colleague in crime, my working partner for many things. Okay, so Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Now, I think we can proceed. Do we have some show and tell today?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, yes, we have. Today somehow I'm the host because Dharma Gupta is traveling and he's in an airport and it's quite noisy there, so he asked me.
Yes.
So, yeah. So today is Anandamayi Mataji, Ramananda Gopal, and our dear Bhaktin Arijana.
Okay.
So Anandamayi Mataji, you can start. Anandamayi Mataji, you have to unmute yourself. Yes.
And share the screen. There is the sign that host disabled participants screen sharing. So I think you must do something.
Okay, share. So no, I didn't. Yes, can you? Can you share it now?
Okay, let's see. No. This is your sharing.
Oh, sorry. Oh my gosh. So share computer.
You don't know.
Screen. Sharing for no. What about now?
The same.
The same.
This is about host.
Oh my gosh. Dharma Gupta have to come.
Can you hear me now?
Sorry.
In sharing options, you have a sharing option.
Yes, I have it here.
A small arrow at a green sign. You just open the advanced options of the sharing of the Arijana.
Okay,
At the bottom of the screen, where you see the green button.
Yes, here.
You have a small arrow next to it.
My gosh. I will stop share my screen. Aha, here green. Okay. Sorry for, no, this is again not the right. What do I have to do?
Arrow next to the green share screen button. You have a share screen button. You have a small arrow next to it.
Yes, I do. And then when I click that button, it comes this screen.
No. You have a. Can you make me a host? Can you please make
Yes.
me
Sorry, Guru Maharaj.
a host? So I can do it.
And to wear a face mask at designated places. Thank you for
Can I
that.
do that? Guru Maharaj, maybe I can suggest, maybe Ramananda Gopal will be first, and then I will do, then I will be in, yes,
Okay.
let's do it like this first, yes. So Ramananda Gopal Prabhu, can you be first? So sorry.
Yeah. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
And
Yes, we hear you.
fortunately, I don't have so much to show, more to tell. And
And here.
We don't hear you.
now? Haribol?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, so 2 weeks ago, I think I wrote already in the chat that we in Simhachalam, we would very much like to ask for help of anybody who is inspired to be Puchari of Nrsingadev. It's a very unique opportunity to join in, and basically we need a Puchari and a cook, or a cook, or something like that. So since I know that many of our God brothers and God sisters are also inspired in deity worship, and some know, I mean, most of you know probably Simhachalam and Shri Prahlad Lakshmi Nrsingadev. That's your opportunity. And yeah, if there's anybody interested, then please contact me, either in the WhatsApp group, or yeah, or through this medium. I don't mind. Yeah. Basically, yeah, I'm looking for a Puchari, actually full-time Puchari, and it can be for some time or for some trial period. But if it works out, of course, we have a community here, and if this devotee feels himself happy and at home, then could be even a longer time out of it. So it's an opportunity.
Sounds good.
Yes. Amazing.
There's an extra bonus if you go there right now or very soon. His Holiness Kadamba Kanana Swami is
Yes.
staying there now. I think he said he wants to stay there for a month.
Yes. And on top of this, we have also always Mother Devaki kind of residing now here.
Oh,
And
okay.
yes. And she is also always busy helping in all kind of family affairs and setting up couples. If you maybe also look for a partner, maybe you find also some solution here. Mother Devaki has a whole database of candidates.
Oh, okay. Matchmaking. All
Matchmaking.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a real sadhvi.
Yeah.
I'm sure I can imagine she's contributing a lot to the community there. That's nice.
Yeah. Yes.
So maybe we should say also, even if you, meaning everyone who's listening now, wouldn't be able to yourself take up this service, you can all be thinking if someone comes to mind who might be able to.
Yes. Yes. All suggestions are welcome.
Yeah, of course, coming from outside of the European Union could be problematic.
Yeah.
But, well.
Yeah, let's see.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah. We pray every day to the Lord, and let's see who is the answer to our prayers. You want to be the answer to our prayers? Then come forward.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. That's my
Thank you.
My tell.
That's your tell. Yes.
My tell.
Sometime you can show also of Nrsingadev. Yeah, worship of Nrsingadev. It's I can say personally, it's a good thing. I was pujari for some time, sort of on and off for 3 years, maybe we can say, and then more off than on, but still over the years. Nrsingadev is, he's very merciful.
Yeah.
Okay.
I must say, just as an special advertisement, he becomes more and more active. It's really amazing how he puts things around, and therefore we hope that he becomes active now, finding a puchari who want to be in his service, and he really cares. He really takes care of. If one really dedicates to him, he really cares. This is what I experienced, and I'm being now almost 8 years on the altar, but I'm facing the, how to say, it's I do so many samskaras now. I just did one, and in the evening have again a yagya, and this all takes time and energy, and of course I have two boys now, and and of course a wife, so this also takes energy. I can't do it, this whole altar, I mean the whole altar service anymore. I just need somebody who really takes care of the personal needs of Nrsingadev. That's it.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Jai, thank you. And thank you for all your service to Nrsingadev.
Oh, that's our pleasure. Everybody becomes happy to serve Nrsingadev.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna. So Ananda Mima.
Did we sort out the technical side? Okay.
So Hare Krishna again. As Maharaj told us about 5 dhammas, I was thinking to say something about meditation, about my dhamma. We will start, this will be a short trip. We will start from the spiritual world. But actually we are somewhere in one of these universes, which is coming from Mahavishnu within his dream. So there is only the point of surrender, because the plot is already there. He is dreaming, so we must just surrender to his his dream. So we are within this material egg. Somewhere in the middle of the stem is the earth, this universe of the 4-headed Brahma on the planet Earth. And like Ashtanga Yoga is withdrawing, the meditation means to withdraw inside. So we are withdrawing from the nation, the society, the family, inside and inside ourselves. So My meditation goes inside to Europe, where I am now, to Poland, and to place where I am staying, which is called Świętokrzyskie. It's here. And this is, the name is because of the saintly cross. This name is saintly cross of this area. There's the story that one prince found the cross. This was the revelation of the angel. He saw the bright light, and the cross came from the animal, from the deer, the horns of the deer, and the angel told this prince to bring it to the monastery on where the mountains are there. So the cross is like this. This is about 30 centimeters, and inside is the tree of the Jesus Christ, who was crucified on this tree, on this cross. This cross is double. This kind of cross is called Caravaca from Spanish, and this has the ability to counteract all pandemic, all sickness. So, like Prabhupada said, whatever works, we can use. There are mountains there, nice area. There's the stone, which is a striped stone I have on my altar. From this auspicious stone for the home. I will take you to the forest walk, which is the meditation also, like Nivedana Swami is telling now on this lockdown about 12 forests of Vrindavan and even more forests. So this is my meditation. I was showing this to Maharaj when he was in India. This was during the spring. It's nice area there for meditation. There are some animals, the friends, the birds. I know this is not the time so much for this meditation, but it's a good place there. Beautiful in some ways. So inside, when we are going in this meditation, is my flat. And there's my very simple altar, which is divided into 4 parts, like Sambandha, Abhidheya, and Prayojana, or Madan Mohan, Govinda, Gopinath, and Shyama Sundar. And like Prabhupada said, the meditation about the office, and the place of worship, which is he called Mayapur. So I have this Panchatattva from Mayapur. Actually, I was during the installation of the Chota Panchatattva there. So they are close to my heart. And Boma Vrindavan, which is Radha Shyama Sundar in Vrindavan from Krishna Balaram. So this is like going step by step inside of the meditation. And we are coming, this is some darshan there, the levels of meditation. And we are going inside to Shvetadvipa, which is the place, someone is chanting, meditation. Shvetadvipa, which is like the end of the meditation, the end of the Srila Bhaktisiddhanta is calling Shvetadvipa the White Island. And you can be surprised that this place is the place of the pastimes of the Lord, Lord Govinda, Bhaje Shvetadvipam Tamaham Golokamitiyam Vedantaste Santakshiti Viralachara Katipayam. So this is known to very few persons. And the pastimes which Lord Govinda has with devotees are like passing through the self-realization. So this is the purification of our hearts. And we are going again to the spiritual world where we started. And this is the end of the meditation, spiritual world. And Kshetra Swami is telling about comparing this old trip to the pipe, which is going from the top, from the spiritual world, down to the material world, and again up through purification, through meditation inside. And it is said, I heard it from good source, that when we are in the spiritual world, it is only the moment we are not present there. Because like someone is walking and going behind a tree, so he is not visible for this short moment. So we are not visible in the spiritual world for such short moment. So they even didn't notice that we are not there. For us, it is many lives, many years of spending in the material world. But for those who are inside of this spiritual world, it is not even recognized that we are not there. So this was nice point. So thank you for this, for your attention. My short, quick trip from meditation. Hare Krishna.
Very nice. What is the name of that area, that part of Poland again?
It is the name Świętokrzyskie, which means Santa Cross. I told the story about this cross. It was the miracle.
Yeah, that's say. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. So we have a lot to look forward to going back to the spiritual world, getting out from behind the tree.
Yeah. Pass through.
Nice. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, now I think we can proceed to the highlight of the day.
Guru Maharaj, I think Bhaktina Arijana, she also wants to share something.
Who?
Arijana?
Yes. Arijana, yes, that's that. Let me first explain.
Okay.
As we've already announced, today we have initiation of Bhaktina Arijana. She's, I see, plugged in with her daughter. What is your daughter's name, Arijana?
Her name is Lucy.
Oh, okay. Now, when you read what you have to read, I think it'll be helpful if you can come closer to the microphone, because the audio is not very strong. Before we do a little bit formality, so to say, of meditation, Anna's going to read something she sent already to me, which is telling, or maybe you want to explain, Arijana, what it's about.
Hare Krishna to all of you from Croatia. This is a story written 5 years ago, but it takes place 15 years ago. And the story speaks about my son, who was little back then, and he was 1.5 years old. And he kept bringing to me one particular book, every time the same book from the huge bookshelf. And he done it for a long period of times, and he gave me the book every time, and I took the book and I placed it in the bookshelf. I didn't open it and read it. He urged me to read it and I didn't do it. And the book waited for another 10 years. So I wrote this story in 2015 at the very beginning of my Bhakti Yoga journey. And I will proceed with reading now. Okay, is there translation? You told me yesterday that I have to read slowly.
Yes, there's translation in Polish, which is going simultaneous. So yeah, if you can
Yes.
not read too quickly, that's
Yes,
good.
I can do it.
Good.
So,
Well, before you start, let me also say I want to welcome, I know you have invited some of your friends to join. And so I want to welcome them all for this event. Okay.
thank you very much. So the story is entitled Little Marty and His Book, because my son's name is Marty, or Martin in Croatian. 24th of January of 2005, my birth date. But certainly this is not the day I came into this world in this body of mine. It is the day that marks the beginning of my new life. The day when, at the intersection between life and death, I have received an amazing gift and stayed. I was allowed to stay. After I have returned home from the intensive care unit, and after a long recovery, actually after returning to my senses metaphorically and literally, my son, who was then only 1.5 years old, started to bring me one book from the huge bookshelf. He would always bring the same book over and over again. Every time he brought this same particular book and handed it over to me. Not just a couple of times. This was going on for a longer period of time, so that even his father, who was mostly absent, noticed what Marty was doing. He would say, "I guess we got the enlightened one at home." Or he would say, "Here he goes again with his book." He was not even aware of what he was saying. I would always take the book with joy, feeling warmth in my heart, especially seeing the little one with golden curls, often barefooted. He looked like an angel, but I had never opened the book, not even once. Back then, I did not have eyes to see. I was not ready. I would take it and then put it back on the bookshelf. On the other hand, he was tireless and persistent. Sometimes I would test him by putting the book to another place on the same bookshelf, but always where he could reach it. Every time he would easily find it. This book was not special for any reason in particular. It was so thin and unnoticeable. As the time passed by, my little boy grew up and his habit was lost. Remembering these events, the circle of 9 years of my life had been closed. One Saturday evening, when I came to a small gathering of devotees in this small town on the north, a week before my new birth, a circle which contained a period of half of my life was closed, or everything summed up from the date of my birth in this body until today, or maybe even everything I experienced from previous births. Having been carried by the wave of strong and constant synchronicities, especially in the time that preceded my first encounter with devotees on that Saturday's gathering, realizing deeply how everything is connected, I have remembered the day when my sincere search for God has begun. I was not raised in a spiritual environment, and I got the impulse for spirituality spontaneously through Saint Francis of Assisi, who in a way was always there with me since my childhood. During my university studies of Italian language, I wrote a thesis about him and his prayers. Also, I would sometimes meet the Hare Krishnas, as they were called by people. I was instantly mesmerizing, seeing their faces radiating pure joy and bliss. Also, their incredible, indescribable freedom, detachment from this world, and lightness of being. Still, conditioned by fears towards my mother, it was much easier to delete all those ideas and impressions from my mind rather than embracing these blissful people. Saint Francis of Assisi remained an impulse, a role model, and a spiritual guide for me. I wondered, does it really matter what is the name of the path? It is amazing that all these paths have different names, but still they lead to the same goal: truthfulness, compassion, purity, control of senses, love towards all living beings under this sky, to love all of them without any difference, and allowing that love to be poured into us by the impulse of the Creator, and then poured out from us towards all beings. Does it matter by whom were we invited to the path? By Saint Francis, or following a traditional bhakti path? I realized that Saint Francis was a true bhakta among the saints of Christianity. Christianity never seemed enough for me, and in the course of last year I have realized why. But that is another story. My first contact with the devotees during my days in the north, I'm speaking about the north of Croatia. Food, local veggie club. When I first tasted their food, I wrote about it very inspiringly. But then when I wrote it, I didn't quite understood why the food tasted and smelled divinely, bringing extraordinary energy to the body and purity to the mind. On one occasion, during one meeting to be precise, on Saturday before going to my first devotee meeting at all, my yoga teacher, who by the way is also a devotee, which I wasn't aware back then, mentioned the term prasadam while talking about the food prepared at the veggie club, and I instantly knew it. All the pieces of the puzzle were connecting. Where the smell and where the taste come from. I was so grateful. It was them, the inseparable couple from Veggie Club, who invited me to their friend's lecture and presentation about India. I didn't exactly know where I was going. I just went. I went with the flow, as they say. I entered straight inside the circle of devotees. Their invitation at the time was a great honor and mercy for me. On the same Saturday, I went to sleep and I dreamt about little Marty, my son, carrying again this book to me. I saw him exactly as he was when he was just a little boy, in that same space. I heard the sound of his barefoot feet on wooden floor, his laughter. He placed the book on the palm of my hand. I immediately woke up, removed my blanket, got up, turned on the light and took the book. It was Shri's Upanishad. I kept it somehow. It was still there on the shelf, resisting my moving to another apartment, transferring of the few furniture and giving away books which were of no interest to me anymore. Quietly and patiently, the book waited for me, crammed between other books. What was also interesting is that Lil Marty also occasionally brought me another book, a vegetarian Hare Krishna cookbook. Food was always my subject of interest, especially cooking for others, distribution, nurturing others. Isn't that just amazing? He was bringing me knowledge and showing me the way, but I didn't have the eyes to see. It was not the time. My little Shiksha guru, who was inspired in his heart by Krishna to remind me and to guide me. But now I feel the time has come. Now I'm ready and I'm grateful, intuitively knowing that I'm on the way home. Written in the late spring of 2015. That's it. Thank you.
And thank you. Your son, Martin, was certainly acting as your Vartma Pradarshaka guru, the technical term, one who shows the path.
Yeah.
From age 1.5, he was bringing you Ishopanishad.
Yes, even less than 1 year and a half. 1 year and 3 months.
Amazing. Well, as we say, all's well that ends well. It was beginning well, and now it's not ending, but indeed the connections are being made complete now. So I wanted to say a few words before we ask you something and then tell you something with respect to initiation. Of course, the circumstance is a bit unusual. We would have preferred to be in person there in Croatia, where you are. But it is said there is no hindrance in the practice of devotional service. So Krishna's arranged for a different means of communication. Of course, Srila Prabhupada many times gave initiation from a distance. He would write a letter, and sometimes it was several devotees at one time, and they would receive all in one letter the blessings from Srila Prabhupada together with their new names. So in that respect, this is not so radical. In fact, in some ways, we can say it's a technical improvement. The occasion, I've been engaged the last several weeks in a project commissioned by the GBC to the Shastra Advisory Council with a research project related to the subject of Diksha. To make some clarifications. I won't go into any details on that because I'm not permitted to do so. It's a process for which I have to keep confidentiality. But just yesterday, I happened across what I found was a very intriguing use of the word diksha quite unexpectedly. I found this in Srila Sanatana Goswami's book, Sri Krishna Lila Stava. And this is text number 63. I'll read the Sanskrit of the verse and then the translation. The whole Krishna Stava consists of obeisances addressed to Lord Krishna. 108 obeisances. Each obeisance includes several verses, and they consist of addresses, again, directly to the Lord. So this verse goes like this: Pradatta purva svapadabja saurida pradana diksho chittadesha sangata svasevaka brahma sukadikotsava premakara kridana krinnamostute. Translation: Now that you, Krishna, had put your lotus feet in Vraja, the most suitable place, you vowed to give those who reside there your wholehearted affection, awarding them your company. O reservoir of pure love, performer of sporting pastimes, festival of joy for your servants, joy greater than the happiness of Brahman, I bow down to you. So the word diksha is sort of hidden within this verse, and the word for word translation here from Gopi Paranadhana Prabhu for diksha is as follows. Yes, your intention. Diksha is translated here as intention. And I wanted to call attention to this because intention is so important in spiritual life. And we can say that diksha is very much about focusing our intention such that we keep it directed to the goal of life, to reconnect with the Lord and to experience the Lord's wholehearted affection. We've been talking about the holy Dhamma, and here in this verse, Sanatana Goswami is saying that the Lord has his intention, translated in the translation as vow. You vowed to give those who reside there in the Dhamma your wholehearted affection. So the point is that the Lord makes a vow. He makes a determination, a sankalpa, and with initiation we also make a sankalpa. Before we go there, though, let's get the official dictionary meanings of the word diksha. It means a preparation or consecration for a religious ceremony, an undertaking of religious observances for a particular purpose, and the observances themselves. And the next meaning is simply dedication, initiation. And the third meaning is any serious preparation as for battle, as for fighting. And then the fourth meaning is self-devotion to a person or God, complete resignation or restriction to exclusive occupation with. So those are kind of technical and maybe a bit dry definitions, but they are suggestive, I think. And speaking more of intention, just an hour or so ago, I was looking out my window and I noticed one spider busily spinning her web. And I watched for some time, and I was amazed at how intensely intentional this spider was preparing its little home, intended, of course, to capture its victims so that it can feed itself. That is the nature, that is what spiders do. But I was also struck by how incredibly skilled this spider was. She was moving very fast and without the slightest hesitation with each movement. And with her 8 legs, each leg had its own sort of independent function. Sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, sort of grabbing one string, pulling it in while simultaneously pulling another, moving forward with other legs. At one point, she paused for a moment, and it was very clear to me that she is thinking. So it wasn't just instinct, because she stopped, because she had been going around. First, she was making the main structure of, they're expert engineers, spiders. She was making the main strands that hold it all together. And then she started making the circles going around from the center, working out. And at one point she stopped for a few seconds, and then she turned around and went back. And I could see she's thinking, oh, I still have to, whatever it was, fix this particular support in order to get more strength on this side so that I can, continue. And I was quite astonished to see this. We've all seen spiders making spider webs, but I was particularly struck this time. The intentionality and the skill, the focused skill at making this structure. So I thought we can learn something from spiders for our spiritual life. So of course, Diksha, we have our own definitions, meaning within our Gaudiya Sampradaya tradition. And I don't have it in my memory, the exact quote, but Srila Jiva Goswami divides the word Diksha into 2 parts, the D and the Ksha. And the first part, it relates to the giving of knowledge, and this the D syllable, and the second syllable relates to the cutting of or disconnection or freedom from material life, from material bondage. So the 2 things are combined. Transcendental knowledge is given, cutting off our bondage is also accomplished with Diksha. Now, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, as some of you may know, explains Diksha in terms of what he calls pancha samskara. There are 5 different elements. The first one being urdhva pundra, which is the marking. on the parts of the body of urdhva pundra, indicating that our aim is upward to go, yes, as Srila Prabhupada would always say, back home, back to Godhead. And of course, identifying ourselves as Vaishnavas, and identifying the body as the temple of the Lord. I don't know if I can't quite see in the image here if you have tilak on at present, Arijana. Oh, we don't hear you now.
I have tilak made with water because I
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You don't have any tilak at home.
Yes,
Okay.
at the moment, home now.
Okay, so we'll imagine that we can see your tilak. I mention that only because when I was initiated in Paris in 1972, the devotee directly before me to offer obeisance to Srila Prabhupada and then to pronounce his vows and to receive his name. Just before he was going up, Srila Prabhupada looked at him and he said, "No tilak?" And this devotee had to sort of shrink back and go and put some tilak on. So I always remember that. So I was very happy that I had tilak on. So I was ready to go. Anyway, urdhva pundra, and then the next one is tapa, and tapa, of course, we generally translate as austerity. More originally, you can say it means heat. In the early Vedic literature, in Rig Veda and so on, tapa means heat. It's the heat of endeavor which we make for spiritual life. We can understand it that way. It's the heat generated by making austerity, by which we gain, we have the determination and the strength to be successful in spiritual life. There's another interesting meaning to tapa, I find, and that is regret. We don't usually hear that, but what I was reading from the Taoist tradition, suggesting a meditation of removing all the impurities, making them into rocks and stones and demons that one kills in a remote place. So regret is actually a good and healthy feeling to have as we take up spiritual life. Regret for our failures, regret for our excesses, regret for our possibly evil thoughts, evil activities, shortcomings, whatever it is. We know that our lives are full of fault, as Bhaktivinoda Thakura also expressed himself. And so to feel that is also tapa. In the Sri Vaishnava tradition, tapa refers to a physical act, something that Gaudiya Vaishnavas don't do. The Sri Vaishnavas, the guru brands with a hot iron, with a shanka and chakra on the shoulders, the new initiate. Yeah, that's tapa. In the Gaudiya tradition, it's not a hot brand, it's chandan. It's yes, it's cooling. It's sandalwood. You can mark your body on on the face and the other parts of the body with the marks, the chihna of the Lord. Then there is nama, which can refer to both the name of the Lord, which we are given to chant, and to the name that we receive as servant of the Lord, dasa or dasi. This is the third item. Sometimes there's discussion, Srila Prabhupada made this two-layer, two-stage initiation, first and second. Is the first initiation actual diksha? And what I would say is it's part of the diksha, because from the side of pancha samskara, it is very much part of the process. And so name is given. And name, if we take it as the name of the Lord, I always like to remember that Srila Prabhupada said, if one is chanting the holy name of the Lord as a regular practice, we can understand that person has already received the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what I take from that is, in effect, Prabhupada is saying, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his external purpose, he had his external and his internal, his external purpose was to, of course, preach the Yuga Dharma for this age, which we understand, Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevalam, Kalo na asti eva, na asti eva, na asti eva. Or you put it together with Sandhi, nastyeva, 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 gati, gatihi, gatir, anyata. There's no other way in this age of Kali to pursue and to reach. The word gati can mean both the path and the goal. It is bhakti for Krishna is the path, and it's also the goal simultaneously. We reach the goal every time we take up our japa mala and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You may think, oh, I'm so far away from Krishna. No, you are not so far away from Krishna. Krishna is as close as your japa mala and as close as your as close as the sound of the mantra, which is going on as you chant. That's how close Krishna is, and that's how directly you are connecting with Krishna. So this is also initiation. The final two parts of the five of the pancha samskara are mantra and yaga. It's called yaga, which mantra refers to, for us, mantras which we receive in second initiation or Brahmana initiation, which are assisting us in our practice, assisting us in keeping on the positive side of the modes of material nature. In other words, in the mode of goodness and reaching to the border and beyond the border of the modes of nature altogether into Shuddha Sattva. And the mantras are given, are received as additional forms of worship of the Lord, as murti, their mantra murti, which Narada Muni mentions in the Bhagavatam, and they authorize us thereby to worship the Lord in his physical deity form in the temple, and that is yaga, which seems to be the early term for yajna, and in our case it refers to the guru giving us a deity to engage in service to. We're all given as deity. Srila Prabhupada gives us pancha-tattva. He encourages us as a devotee, beginning from day one, you can set up an altar and have the deities, the 5 deities, 5 truths in one. In the Christian tradition, there is the Trinity. In our Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, there's a Panchami. There's a 5-fold supreme personality of Godhead. We're given them to worship, and Panchatattva can be worshipped with the Maha Mantra, simply with the Maha Mantra. And so in this way we can understand something of Diksha. So, as the dictionary says, Diksha also means initiation. Initiation, as Srila Prabhupada, means beginning. And Srila Prabhupada also pointed out, initiation means accepting discipline. And what is the discipline? We accept some self-regulation that we promise. This is something of an innovation that Srila Prabhupada made to help us to keep clear in our understanding that we are indeed making a full-time, not just a weekend, but a full-time, lifetime commitment to Krishna consciousness, the practice, the culture, so that we can actually gain the whole point of what we're doing, to realize Krishna and to make Krishna available, to share Krishna with others, to make our own lives exemplary for others to appreciate, and therefore to be inspired to also follow. Spiritual life can be a difficult life. Prabhupada said, chant Hare Krishna and your life will be sublime. Yes, and chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Yes, and challenges are coming. And what we understand with challenges is that Krishna is enabling us to overcome, to become stronger, to dedicate ourselves more, to take more shelter, to experience ourselves as more dependent, to realize our infinitesimal size. Ai nanda tanuja kinkarang patitang mang vishame bhavambudo kripaya tava parapankaja stita duli sadrishang vichintaya. Oh Lord, please allow me to take up residence at on your lotus feet as simply a speck a speck of dust on your lotus feet, and in this way be ever safe and ever engaged in the Lord's service. Hare Krishna. So therefore, we want to ask you, Arijana. Arijana, we've heard now, has had something of a journey, which started so many years ago with the help of her son, toward Krishna. Yeah, such situations make me a true believer. When I hear such stories, we hear many stories of devotees, how they connect with Krishna, and there's always something special about them. Yeah, and as you've already said, Arijana, now you feel now the time has come. So if you can tell us all, as you are planning to continue, what the 4 regulative principles are that you'll continue to follow for the rest of your life.
Yes. So the 4 principles of freedom, I prefer to say principles of freedom,
Yes.
are no eating meat, fish and eggs, no gambling, no use of intoxicants, and no illicit sex.
Very good. Yes, I've just been writing about these 4 points in my little book called Krishna's Wonderful Form. One of the students conversing with me asks, are there any qualifications to worship Krishna? Well, yes. And I make that point. They are the 4 principles, 4 regular principles of freedom, as Srila Prabhupada translates one verse in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita. And those are the 4 negatives, and the positive vow. Arijana?
I'm afraid I didn't understand.
There's something we say that we're going to do every day positively.
Yeah. So we chant at least 16 rounds, at least.
Okay. What are we going to chant?
Hare Krishna Maha Mantra.
Very good. Okay. Now, normally we would do these making of vows in front of the Lord in the form of the deity, in the form of fire. And actually, we do have deities here. We have the altar. It's a little difficult for me to move now, but Shri Gornitai are here. Lord Jagannath is here. Giriraj is here. Shalagram, Shila, Narayan, Jagannath Narayan, and Hayagriva, and Lakshmi Hayagriva are all here. And they're all listening. They've all heard you. And all the devotees, they've all heard you. And we want to request all the devotees to give your blessings, as we're asking Srila Prabhupada to give his blessings, without which none of us would be where we are, and without which I wouldn't be in a position to offer you this initiation. And having said all that, I think if we could unmute all the microphones. Yes, some of your microphones are still on. Okay, don't say Haribol yet. Oh, now we're seeing everyone also. Oh, this is very nice. Okay, so Arijana, would you like to have another name, a spiritual name?
I really would like to have another name.
You would really like, okay. Well, here's my proposal that your name is Amrita-taruni Devi Dasi. Amrita, Amrita, of course, means nectar. It means also freedom from death. And taruni means something like delicate body. It refers to the transcendental form of Srimati Radharani, that her form consists in Amrita. It consists of nectar. So we can say this is a name of Srimati Radharani. Amrita-taruni Devi Dasi ki jai.
Jai Haribol.
I'm speechless, and I can speak a lot. Those who know me, they know that I could speak, but now I cannot.
Now you're speechless.
To the fact that it is not allowed to take pictures or film our crew and passengers without permission. It is due to the fact that it violates privacy regulations. On behalf of Carane, we wish you a
So it seems everyone is congratulating you. So yes, we want to wish you all the best in this new chapter in your life. And in particular, I want to encourage you to cultivate the garden of your spiritual life in the association of devotees. Make good friends amongst the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. You are joining a great family. We can say there's the more immediate family of my own shishyas. We say my shishyas. And there's the greater family, of course, of Srila Prabhupada's followers, his direct disciples and his grand disciples. And we're all in one very big family, which is itself part of a bigger family of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And we're all following Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So normally I would be giving you Japamala, which I have chanted on. This part is difficult to perform through the screen, but we will work out some alternative in due course of time. But you can consider that the Japamala, which you are chanting on now, are already sanctified. You can offer them on your home altar, and in this way they'll in any case be sanctified. Is that all right?
Yes, it's all right. It's perfect. Thank you very much, and thank all of you for good wishes and blessings from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
And thank to my daughter who is here today with me.
Yes, all thanks. Tell me again your daughter's name.
Lucia, or Lucy in English.
Lucia. Okay, Lucia. Hare Krishna, Lucia. There are several messages here offering you congratulations in the chat.
Thank you to all of you, really.
Okay, so I think I will not, we just have a few more minutes of our scheduled time. I'm not going to continue our subject of the Holy Dham. I think we can end there unless someone has a burning question. But I thought it's nice to end. I thought it's nice to end on this upbeat note of the initiation of Amrita-taruni. Everyone's silent now. Okay. So thank you all. Have a very nice week. Again, thanks to all of you who have joined us just this special time to support Amrita-taruni. Of course, you're welcome to join us in any of our further Saturday gatherings. They're happening at the same time as long as we can see, and yes, you're welcome. So I will say, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Srila Krishna Kshetra Maharaj ki.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol. Gaur Premanande. Gaur Premanande.
Jacob, can you unplug the charger?
Hare Krishna.